Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that life is not as complicated as it often appears. Imagine that abundance is not something distant or reserved for a lucky few. Instead, imagine that wealth, opportunity, and prosperity flow quietly through the world like a river always present, always moving, waiting for those who learn how to align themselves with its current. Many people spend their lives chasing wealth as if it was something outside of them. They run faster, work harder, worry more, and yet the door to abundance often remains closed. The secret, however, is rarely found in chasing. It is found in understanding. There is a simple truth about the mind. Whatever the mind believes deeply, the world begins to mirror. When a person constantly focuses on lack, obstacles seem to appear everywhere. When a person focuses on fear, life begins to echo that fear. But when the mind becomes calm, focused, and certain about prosperity, something interesting happens. The world slowly rearranges itself. Think of manifestation not as magic, but as alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, they create a powerful signal, and life responds to that signal. There is a simple practice that many overlook because it feels almost too easy. Yet sometimes the simplest methods are the most powerful. For the next 7 days, begin each morning in silence. Before checking your phone, before thinking about problems, sit quietly and imagine your life already filled with abundance. Not in a desperate way, not in a hopeful way, but in a calm and certain way, as if it has already happened. Picture unexpected money arriving. Picture opportunities appearing from surprising places. Picture doors opening that you once believed were closed. Feel the relief, the gratitude, and the calm joy that would come with it. Then during the day, move through the world with the quiet confidence that something good is already on its way. When doubt appears, and it will, observe it like a passing cloud. Do not fight it, do not follow it. Simply return your attention to the feeling of certainty. In the evening before sleep, repeat the practice. Reflect on the day and find at least one small sign of abundance. It might be a helpful conversation, a new idea, an opportunity, or even a moment of peace. Acknowledge it and feel grateful. Gratitude is powerful because it tells the mind that abundance already exists. And when the mind believes that abundance is present, it begins to notice opportunities that were invisible before. Within 7 days, many people notice something unusual. It may not always arrive as a sudden pile of money falling from the sky. Sometimes it arrives as a new connection, an unexpected idea, a chance opportunity, or a door that quietly opens. But these moments are not accidents. They are signals that the mind and life are beginning to move in harmony. The truth is that wealth often comes to those who stop chasing it with anxiety and start attracting it with clarity and calm belief. So try this simple experiment for 7 days. Calm the mind, focus the intention. Feel gratitude as if abundance has already arrived. You may discover that what once felt impossible begins to move closer, and what once seemed like a secret of the universe becomes a quiet part of your daily life. Abundance comes through alignment. Wealth and opportunities flow like a river in the world. When a person aligns their thoughts, emotions, and actions with prosperity instead of lack, life begins to reflect that abundance. In life, many people believe that wealth is something distant, something reserved only for the fortunate or the powerful. They think abundance must be chased, fought for, or earned through endless struggle. Yet there is a quieter truth that often goes unnoticed. Abundance flows through the world constantly, much like a river that never stops moving. It passes through opportunities, ideas, connections, and moments that appear ordinary on the surface. The difference between those who experience prosperity and those who constantly struggle is not always effort or intelligence. Often it is alignment. Alignment begins in the mind. Every person carries thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that shape the way they see the world. When someone constantly thinks about lack, worries about money, and expects problems, their attention naturally focuses on obstacles. They begin to notice every difficulty and every closed door. Slowly, their life begins to feel like a reflection of those expectations. This is not because the world is punishing them, but because the mind tends to move toward whatever it believes most strongly. However, when the mind begins to focus on abundance, something subtle but powerful starts to change. Instead of expecting failure or scarcity, the person begins to notice possibilities. Opportunities that once seemed invisible suddenly appear. Conversations lead to ideas, ideas lead to action, and action opens doors that were previously hidden. The world itself may not have changed, but the person's alignment with it has shifted. Alignment is not about forcing yourself to believe something unrealistic. It is about creating harmony between what you think, what you feel, and how you act. When your thoughts say one thing, your emotions say another, and your actions move in a third direction, the mind becomes scattered and uncertain. But when your thoughts focus on prosperity, your emotions feel calm confidence, and your actions move toward growth, a powerful signal is created. This signal influences how you move through life. You speak differently, make decisions differently, and respond to opportunities differently. People sense your confidence. Situations begin to shift. What once felt difficult begins to feel possible. Think of a boat on a river. If the boat fights against the current, every movement feels exhausting. Progress becomes slow and frustrating. But if the boat turns and moves with the current, the journey becomes smoother and faster. The same effort suddenly produces greater results. In the same way, aligning your thoughts and emotions with abundance allows life to flow more easily. Instead of chasing wealth with stress and fear, you begin attracting opportunities with clarity and calm belief. Your focus changes from what is missing to what is possible. This shift may seem small, almost invisible at first. Yet over time, it changes the way the mind interacts with the world. Ideas begin to appear more frequently. Creative solutions emerge. New paths open where there once seemed to be walls. When a person learns to align their inner world with prosperity rather than scarcity, they begin to move with the natural flow of opportunity. And when that alignment becomes steady, abundance no longer feels like a distant dream. It begins to feel like a natural part of life. The mind creates your reality. What a person consistently believes and focuses on is often mirrored by life. Focusing on fear and scarcity attracts more struggle, while focusing on prosperity and possibility opens new doors. The mind is one of the most powerful forces shaping human experience. Yet many people move through life without realizing how deeply their thoughts influence their reality. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass quietly through the mind. Some are hopeful, some are fearful, and many are simply habits repeated over time. These thoughts may seem small and harmless, but when repeated again and again, they begin to form beliefs. And beliefs quietly guide the direction of a person's life. When someone constantly focuses on lack, their mind becomes trained to notice everything that confirms that lack. They see every bill, every delay, every missed opportunity. Even when a door opens, they may not recognize it because their attention is fixed on problems. The mind becomes like a lens that filters the world, allowing only certain experiences to come into focus. Over time, this pattern creates the feeling that life is always difficult and abundance is always far away. But the same mind that creates limitation can also create expansion. When a person begins to change what they focus on, the lens slowly shifts. Instead of constantly thinking about what is missing, they begin to think about what is possible. Instead of expecting disappointment, they allow themselves to expect progress and opportunity. This shift may feel small at first, but it begins to influence how the mind interprets every situation. Consider how two people might walk through the same day and experience it completely differently. One person believes life is unfair and that success rarely comes their way. Throughout the day, they notice every inconvenience and every problem. A delayed message feels like rejection, a small mistake feels like failure, and a quiet moment feels like proof that nothing good is happening. By the end of the day, their belief that life is difficult feels even stronger. Another person may move through the same day with a different inner belief. They expect opportunities to appear and believe that progress is always possible. When they encounter a delay, they see it as time to think or prepare. When they make a mistake, they see it as a lesson. When something small goes well, they recognize it as a sign of forward movement. By the end of the day, their belief in growth and possibility becomes stronger. The outer world may not have changed for either person, yet their experience of it becomes completely different. This is the quiet power of the mind. It shapes attention, shapes decisions, and decisions shape results. When the mind begins to focus on prosperity, the body and emotions also begin to follow. Confidence replaces hesitation. Creativity replaces worry. Instead of feeling trapped by circumstances, a person begins to search for paths forward. This mental shift encourages action, and action invites opportunity. Opportunities often appear in subtle ways through a conversation, a new idea, a chance meeting, or a moment of inspiration. Yet these moments can easily pass unnoticed if the mind is locked in doubt. When the mind expects abundance, however, it becomes more alert to these openings. In this way, the thoughts a person repeats each day slowly build the foundation of their future. A mind that practices belief in possibility begins to recognize possibilities everywhere. And when the mind learns to expect prosperity rather than scarcity, life gradually begins to reflect that expectation. The 7-day manifestation practice. Start each morning in silence and visualize your life already filled with abundance. Imagine unexpected money, opportunities, and success arriving with calm certainty. There is a simple practice that many people overlook because it appears too easy to be powerful. In a world that often praises complexity and constant effort, simplicity is sometimes dismissed. Yet some of the most profound changes in life begin with small, quiet habits that shape the mind day by day. One such habit is the daily practice of intentional visualization combined with calm awareness. The idea is not to force reality to change instantly, nor is it about wishful thinking. Instead, it is about gently guiding the mind to focus on the direction you want your life to move. The mind naturally follows whatever images and emotions are repeated most often. When those images are filled with worry and fear, the mind continues to create more of those feelings. But when the mind repeatedly experiences images of success, prosperity, and opportunity, it begins to treat those outcomes as familiar and possible. The practice begins each morning before the noise of the day enters your thoughts. When you first wake up, the mind is still calm and open. At this moment, sit quietly for a few minutes. There is no need for complicated techniques. Simply breathe slowly and allow your mind to become still. Once the mind begins to settle, start to imagine your life as if abundance has already arrived. Picture yourself receiving unexpected financial opportunities. Imagine a message, a call, or a chance meeting that leads to new success. See yourself feeling relieved, confident, and grateful as prosperity begins to flow into your life. The important part of this practice is the feeling behind the image. Do not imagine these things with desperation or anxiety. Instead, imagine them with calm certainty as if they are already unfolding. The mind responds more strongly to emotions than to words. When the feeling of gratitude and relief becomes real inside you, the mind starts to accept the possibility that these outcomes belong in your life. After a few minutes of visualization, carry that calm certainty into the rest of your day. Move through daily activities with the quiet belief that something positive is already moving toward you. You do not need to search desperately for signs. Instead, simply stay open and attentive. Throughout the day, you may notice doubts appearing. This is natural because the mind has been trained for many years to expect problems. When these thoughts arise, do not fight them or judge them. Simply observe them the way you might watch clouds passing across the sky. Let them pass without giving them power. Each time doubt appears, gently return your attention to the feeling of gratitude and possibility. Over time, this trains the mind to spend more energy on constructive thoughts rather than limiting ones. Practicing this process for 7 days creates a powerful shift in awareness. The mind begins to expect progress instead of delay. It becomes more alert to opportunities that previously went unnoticed. Small ideas start to appear, new conversations happen, and subtle chances begin to reveal themselves. What seems like a simple daily habit slowly changes how the mind interacts with the world. And when the mind changes its focus in this way, life often begins to respond with opportunities that feel almost surprising, yet somehow perfectly timed. Maintain calm confidence throughout the day. Move through the day believing that something good is already on its way. When doubts appear, observe them calmly and return your focus to gratitude and positive expectation. Throughout the day, life presents many moments that test a person's mindset. Even when someone begins their morning with calm intention and positive focus, the outside world can quickly introduce distractions, challenges, and doubts. Messages arrive, responsibilities appear, and unexpected situations demand attention. In these moments, it becomes easy for the mind to slip back into old patterns of worry and uncertainty. This is why maintaining calm confidence during the day is just as important as beginning the day with clear intention. Calm confidence does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. Life will always contain challenges, delays, and moments of uncertainty. Calm confidence simply means choosing not to allow those moments to control your inner state. Instead of reacting with stress or fear, you remain steady, trusting that progress is still unfolding even if you cannot see it yet. When a person moves through the day with this quiet certainty, their energy becomes different. Their decisions become clearer because they are not clouded by anxiety. Their conversations become more open because they are not speaking from fear. Opportunities often appear in simple interactions, and people who carry calm confidence are more likely to recognize and respond to these moments. Consider how doubt usually appears. It rarely arrives loudly at first. Instead, it enters quietly through small thoughts such as, what if nothing changes, or maybe this won't work. These thoughts can easily grow stronger if they are given attention. The mind begins to repeat them, turning a small question into a strong belief. However, when you learn to observe these thoughts rather than follow them, their power fades. Imagine standing beside a road and watching cars pass by. Some cars are fast, some are slow, and some make noise, but you do not chase them or try to stop them. You simply watch them pass. Thoughts can be treated the same way. When a doubtful thought appears, recognize it without judgment. Do not argue with it or push it away. Simply allow it to pass while gently returning your attention to the calm belief that something positive is already moving toward you. This practice prevents the mind from becoming trapped in cycles of worry. As the day continues, small moments of opportunity may appear in unexpected places. A conversation might introduce a new idea. A piece of information might lead to a solution. An unexpected message might create a new connection. These moments often seem ordinary, yet they can become turning points when noticed with awareness. The key is to remain open rather than tense. When people are stressed and impatient, they often overlook the very opportunities they are hoping for. But when the mind is calm and attentive, it becomes easier to recognize possibilities hidden within everyday experiences. By maintaining this steady confidence throughout the day, the mind stays aligned with the intention set in the morning. Each thought, action, and interaction begins to move in the same direction. Over time, this alignment strengthens the feeling that progress is not only possible but already unfolding step by step. And when a person learns to move through their day with this kind of quiet trust, they begin to feel more confident and at ease. They often discover that life begins to respond in ways that once seemed unlikely, bringing opportunities that feel both surprising and perfectly timed. Gratitude activates more opportunities each evening. Reflect on at least one small sign of abundance. Practicing gratitude trains the mind to recognize opportunities that were previously unnoticed, which can lead to unexpected wealth or success. At the end of each day, when the noise of activity begins to fade and the mind prepares for rest, there is a powerful moment that many people overlook. This quiet time before sleep is an opportunity to guide the mind in a direction that supports growth and abundance. Just as the morning sets the tone for the day, the evening shapes the mindset that carries into tomorrow. One of the most powerful habits during this time is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is often misunderstood as simply saying thank you for the good things that happen. In reality, it is much deeper than that. Gratitude is a way of training the mind to recognize the presence of abundance that already exists in life. When people constantly focus on what is missing, their attention becomes trapped in scarcity. They go to sleep thinking about problems, worries, and frustrations, and the mind continues to process these feelings through the night. But when gratitude becomes a daily practice, the mind begins to search for signs of progress instead of signs of lack. Even on an ordinary day, there are always small moments worth acknowledging. It might be a helpful conversation with someone, a new idea that appeared unexpectedly, a small opportunity that showed potential, or even a moment of peace during a busy day. These experiences may seem small, but when recognized with appreciation, they begin to reshape the mind's perspective. Take a few quiet minutes to reflect on the day. Ask yourself a simple question: what was one moment today that showed a sign of abundance, progress, or possibility? It does not need to be something dramatic or life-changing. In fact, the smallest moments often hold the greatest power because they reveal that positive movement is already happening. When you find that moment, allow yourself to feel genuine appreciation for it. Close your eyes if it helps and replay the experience in your mind. Feel the gratitude as if that moment is evidence that life is beginning to open new paths. This emotional response sends a powerful message to the mind. It teaches the mind that abundance is not something far away, but something already appearing in small ways. Over time, this simple habit begins to change the way the mind scans the world. During the day, you naturally start noticing more positive moments because you know you will reflect on them later. Opportunities that once seemed invisible begin to stand out. Conversations feel more meaningful. Ideas arrive more frequently. Gratitude also creates a sense of calm trust. Instead of ending the day with worry about what has not happened yet, you end the day recognizing the steps that have already appeared. This calm state allows the mind to rest without tension, which often leads to clearer thinking and greater creativity the following day. When repeated for several days, the mind slowly becomes conditioned to expect positive outcomes. Instead of constantly anticipating problems, it begins to anticipate opportunities. And this shift in expectation influences the choices, actions, and conversations that shape future results. In this way, gratitude becomes more than a simple reflection. It becomes a quiet signal sent into the world, confirming that abundance is welcome and recognized. And as the mind continues to notice and appreciate each small step forward, life often responds by offering even greater opportunities to be grateful for.